North Brother Island sits in the middle of the East River. Millions of people pass it every day. Cars, boats, trains. Almost no one stops. From a distance, the island looks calm. Trees cover the shoreline. Old buildings fade into the background. It does not draw attention, and that was always the point. North Brother Island was built for isolation, not as a retreat, not as a refuge, but as a boundary. In the late 19th century, New York City was expanding faster than it could manage. Streets were crowded, housing was dense, disease spread easily, public health became a concern, and isolation became a solution. Officials needed a place close to the city, but separated from it. Water provided that separation. North Brother Island was chosen. Hospitals were constructed here, facilities for contagious diseases, smallpox, tuberculosis, typhoid. Anyone considered a threat to the city's health could be sent across the river. Patients arrived by boat. Once they reached the island, the decision to leave was no longer theirs. One of the most well-known residents was Mary Mallon. History would later call her Typhoid Mary. She carried the bacteria without showing symptoms herself. Authorities considered her dangerous. She was brought to North Brother Island and confined. Mary spent years here, released once, then returned. The island became her permanent world. She died on North Brother Island, never fully understanding why she had been isolated for so long. But Mary was only one among many. Thousands of people passed through the island, men, women, children. Some recovered and returned to the city. Others never left. North Brother Island was not designed for comfort. The buildings were functional. The rooms were sparse. The goal was not care alone. It was separation. Isolation was not an accident here. It was policy. It was procedure. It was built into the architecture itself. Doors were positioned to limit movement. Paths were designed to control contact. Every structure reinforced the same idea. That distance could be managed. And for a time, the system appeared to work. The city felt safer. The threat felt contained. What remained unseen were the human costs of that distance. As medical knowledge improved, strict quarantine became less common. New hospitals opened on the mainland. Treatments became more effective. The island's original purpose began to fade. But North Brother Island was not abandoned immediately. Instead, it was repurposed. In the mid-20th century, the island became a rehabilitation center for young men. Later, it housed veterans. Then it served as a drug treatment facility. Each new use tried to justify the island's existence. None lasted. Each new purpose left traces behind. Furniture rearranged, signs replaced, rooms renamed. But the walls did not change. They still carried the memory of separation, of people who had arrived and never decided when to leave. The island absorbed these transitions quietly. It had learned by then how to wait. By the 1960s, North Brother Island was quietly closed. Patients were relocated. The boats stopped coming. The buildings remained. Beds still stood in some rooms. Corridors echoed with nothing. Windows faced the city skyline, a place that no longer looked back. Without people, nature moved in quickly. Vines climbed the walls, trees grew through broken floors, roofs collapsed under time and weather. What had once been controlled and clinical began to soften. Unlike many abandoned places, North Brother Island was not looted. It was not vandalized. Access was restricted. The city preferred it untouched and largely forgotten. Over time, the island changed again. Birds nested among the ruins. Rare species settled where patients once lived. Life returned without permission. Today, North Brother Island is closed to the public. Only researchers and officials are allowed to land. Most people know it only as a shape on a map, or not at all. This is what makes the island unsettling. It is not remote, it is not hidden. It exists in plain sight, yet remains unreachable. North Brother Island does not feel abandoned in the traditional sense. It feels paused, as if something important stopped and was never resumed. The buildings still stand in fragments, walls without roofs, hallways leading nowhere. Windows that once separated the sick from the healthy now frame trees and sky. Isolation defined this place, first for disease, then for behavior, then for people society no longer knew where to put. Each phase left behind traces, but no resolution. North Brother Island raises difficult questions. Who decides when isolation is necessary? When does protection become punishment? And what happens to places built entirely around exclusion once they are no longer needed? The city moved on, medicine advanced, but the island remained. Surrounded by motion, it became still. Surrounded by millions, it became empty. North Brother Island was not destroyed. It was simply no longer useful. And usefulness is often the only thing that protects a place from being forgotten. When usefulness disappears, there is no ceremony, no final moment, no clear ending, just a gradual retreat of attention. And when attention leaves, places like this remain suspended, neither alive nor erased. North Brother Island does not ask to be remembered. It does not demand attention. It waits, not as a warning, not as a lesson, but as evidence of how easily places and people can be set aside. Isolation built this island. Isolation defined it, and isolation is what remains. Just across the water, the city continues.